sick.
Wow.
Welcome to the Higher Energy Superpower. This is episode 41 of the Turbo Duo Cast. I am your host, Salvatore Mata, and to my left is my brother from a game show lover. Another game show lover?
It could be one game show lover, or it could be multiple game show lovers.
He is the oral assassin. He puts the S Classic Gaming. It's Trenton E. Wright III, Esquire.
I like to be called like the oral tattoo assassin.
Can you turn my headphones up?
Turn my headphones up.
Just a little bit? That's better. Thank you very much. And, we're back in the saddle again. Of course, we have the one and only, the Turbo Duo and a half.
No.
Salvatore, superstar, soccer, tournament tomorrow to decide all the marbles. Mata.
All the marbles.
In the building.
All the marbles. All of them.
I forgot the Thomas.
It's almost,
Thomas Mata.
Hey. We can get found, okay? We can get found if you say my middle name.
You're not going to get got.
Yeah, I am.
I wouldn't do that hand gesture though, but that's fine.
What was that?
He was like
I think it's a left hand, not a right hand. Is that right?
Don't come for me, or I'll come for you in your dreams.
It's like a wrestling promo.
He's almost 3/4 of a Mata,
He's almost there yet. He's almost there. Yeah. And
can you turn my headphones up, please?
Speaking of being back in the saddle, we have returning 50 pounds lighter, the one and only. He's my shy guy. He is the rye guy. His name is a lie. It's Mr. Ryan Brown. Welcome to the show, Ryan. Welcome back.
Hey,
glad to have you.
Thanks for having me.
It's been a little while, but I love having you on. I think it's always very informative. You bring a lot of knowledge. You bring a lot of thug power, respect, leadership, street knowledge, and wisdom.
Yeah.
Really overselling this.
And you bring that hustle, loyalty, and respect. I don't enjoy winning.
If I was a baking ingredient, I'd be bleached flour. I don't know what you're talking about.
That's why I said your name is a lie.
You'd be a pinch of salt because no one notices it. They just say to put it in.
That's pretty good.
That's a good one.
Oh my gosh.
They say you need it.
So, I say this all the time. I feel like it's been like a hot minute since we've recorded and been together.
It's always a hot minute or a tight second.
Yeah, something like that. Which doesn't mean anything. That doesn't actually give us a unit of time.
Oh, it does.
2 months.
Yeah, that's a unit of time. Ask the 9-year-old.
2 months.
The unit of time between the last times we recorded.
It's not a unit of time. 2
moon
months.
Unit.
No, more like 3.
Yeah, well, it's funny because a couple of months might go by and the whole landscape might be different in terms of just what's going on, what's happening in the video game world, the reseller market. We're always into that. Don't wince. Take it like a man.
Pause.
Take it like a man.
Let's go.
Open up your throat and take that thing all the way down.
He doesn't like the CBD drink.
I'm not even gonna pause that.
you need to just buck up and drink it.
Just throat it.
Just drink it. Just get it down the hatch.
No, it's like the most disgusting thing, and he hates it.
I know, but
I'm gonna drink it because I'm a man.
Just because you open it doesn't mean you have to drink
Yes,
all
it does.
of it.
Yes, it does. You haven't lived long enough to know.
Okay.
Yeah. Leave a like for us, and also comment if you've ever had a CBD seltzer because they take you places that they shouldn't sometimes.
No 9-year-old is going to tell me what to do.
I'm just going to put it that way.
Ball.
Bruh.
Yeah. Oh man. So what's going on, guys? Anything like just jumping off the shelf in terms of like something you guys want to talk about? Something that's going on.
You live with me.
Huh?
What did
you just say?
Said you're in love with me?
You said you live with me.
Oh. Yeah, we're roommates.
Yeah. Is there anything that's going on? I could start us off.
Sure.
Not really. I don't even have that. I have one pickup, but I don't know. I haven't really noticed too much in terms of gaming, in terms of reselling value of games. I haven't seen too much fluctuation, but I'm not myself. I'm not finding as much stuff right now. I don't know if that's a tell or not.
Yeah. Not finding stuff.
Yeah.
What do you mean when you say that?
I don't see any. I'm not finding anything out in the wild in terms of looking for stuff to either sell or even like I haven't found that much stuff.
Okay.
Even on like Facebook, because usually I'll like look on Facebook, even if someone's selling something that's not like cheap, I'm not.
See, you're saying inventory is down.
Yeah.
Interesting, because I think Ryan, like we were talking about it, and you said that on your side of the business, inventory is up. Yeah. Ryan is I wouldn't say the proprietor, but the manager of a local, what we call our local watering hole for video games, which is the glorious Retro Games Plus, the only destination you need for all of your retro video gaming needs, and sometimes CRT televisions, sometimes Pokemon, sometimes T-shirts.
Oh,
a lot of fun things.
Did you actually? Yeah. Did you ever? Did you sell that one I brought in a while back when I got the N-Gage?
The TV?
Yeah,
I'm sure he sold that.
Yeah, I'm down.
He can't keep them.
I can't.
Oh, nice.
It doesn't matter if it's RF only. Like they're gone.
So I've been on Marketplace a lot lately, and I've been noticing that the TV VCR combos are going for stupid money.
I can't speaking of, I have
like the one that you got me.
Yeah.
They're going for like $100.
Except I can't. I have that one I picked up. I brought here that like 24-inch with the DVD.
Yeah.
Still have it. Can't get anyone.
I know. You know how I know? Because I see it every time I look on Facebook Marketplace for old TVs.
I have it for $50. I haven't got one message about it in 2 months.
Wow.
I'm gonna say, we'll take it because I can't keep them. It doesn't matter what is attached to
I'm sure you'll sell it for Elite for $50.
That's usually roughly what they. I mean, we also warranty them and check.
You see how big that one is though? It's what 24 inches at least, 27.
It's 24. Yeah, with the DVD player.
So that's usually where I cap.
Not even got a message about it. Not even like, hey, would you take 40 or like nothing.
Right.
I don't know.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, nothing.
But it's those TV VCR combos that some of these hipsters I think are getting into. Because it's like a cool old retro thing now. It's not just video games anymore.
My parents had VHS players. It's so retro. And
I'm like, please stop. Just like, I appreciate you, but just
no, you don't.
It hurts my heart. I'm like, I get it. I'm getting older. That's fine. But it's like everything you're watching is available in the ether. Don't need to put this iron tape in here or iron whatever.
I wonder why that's happened. Like, why is it that this has become such a thing? Because it's only been us. Like, we've been the only ones who've actually cared about this stuff until now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I think for us, it's like there's a nostalgia thing. Because it's like that's the medium that was so prevalent when we grew up.
Right.
Because it was from like the, early 80s all the way until the 2000s that VHS was kind of pretty dominant. I mean, DVD was out, but it was so expensive.
Right.
It's not until you get to like the cheaper DVD players like the PS2 and like some of the later ones where people could afford it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because I remember like, I think our first DVD, the only reason we got it was because my mom had made a deal with somebody she worked with for it because they were trying to get rid of theirs.
Okay.
Because they were like, hundreds and hundreds of dollars for the player.
For the DVD players.
And then the DVDs
because it was cheaper to get a PlayStation 2 than it was almost...
Or it was like the same
price, but you got a video game console to go with it. Even though that motor was just trash.
Well, even the DVDs themselves were expensive. They were like $25-$30 starting.
$10 more than VHS tapes, I think, if I remember correctly.
And most of the time, VHSs you could get,
which made no sense really, because it was just a disc. It wasn't.
Yeah, it was probably cheap. It was cheaper to make,
but there was a premium aspect to it because it was a clean image.
It was like it's like when they went from cartridge to CDs. A 64 game would be $64.99, where it would be $54.99.
Well, but the 64 games were the manufacturing process for those was more expensive.
Yeah, you're paying their overhead basically.
Right. Yeah, to produce that cartridge was what, $35 versus a disc that was what, 25 cents,
if that.
Yeah,
because it's just plastic.
Yeah. But I mean, in terms of inventory for video games, what are you guys seeing right now?
Trades every day. And it's not garbage. It's good stuff, like constantly flowing in. I mean, I think that's kind of, it's one of those things where my boss actually put it really good one time. He goes, it's like, because we're kind of, I hate using the term luxury good, but it's like, we're like an excess thing.
Right.
Where it's like, we're not a necessity. So it's like, we're kind of indicative of where the general market and economy goes.
Well, yeah, because you could emulate any one of these things if you really wanted to. It's not like you need an old console to play old games.
Yeah, so it's like when we see a lot of stuff coming, that usually means just the general price of games is doing this a little bit, and then the market in general starts to do that.
And I've noticed that. I mean, I've looked on price charting for several, regular games, high-profile games, and it seems like the drop is about 30% on average right now from the high point. Mm-hmm. And I know that this happens. This seems to happen every once in a while where you get this drop, and then it doesn't last. Like it does come back. It does come back and usually come back stronger, at least in the last 4 years or so. But we're at that point right now where I think maybe people are maybe running out of a little bit of money because of the past few years and all the stimulus stuff. And now it's like, all right, well, maybe they're running on tough times for some reason. But that's the other thing too, is like, the job market is about as hot as you could possibly expect. So it's just, I don't know what's happening there, but it seems like the video game market is a kind of leading indicator saying that, maybe something's going on. But yeah, the prices I'm noticing are a lot cheaper. I was even watching, like, there's this guy 8-Bit Esquire, which he's a lawyer, but he also does like video games on trial. And so, like, is the last one he did was, is Moonwalker worth it for the price it is now? Mm-hmm. But he did that 4 months ago, and Moonwalker was at $160 complete, and now it's selling for like $120 or something like that. Which, you might not think it's a big deal, but that's like a 25% drop for that game.
Yeah, I mean, I think like with the pandemic especially, like there was a lot of like artificial inflation with that. Nostalgia inflation, things like that.
People home.
Yeah.
Want to connect with their
youth.
youth.
That kind of pushed the market up. Then you had a lot of the speculators that were getting in who unfortunately either didn't know the market or thought, hey, this is the exact same as X, which I invest in it. It is not.
Right.
It's like you have to understand there's a difference in how things function. Like all the sealed collectors that are like, oh, this is only going to go to the moon. I'm like, that's logically incorrect. No market does that. Mm-hmm. None in the entire world. So it's like you got to think somewhat rationally about it. And it's like the way I always put it is like, it's only things are only worth what people are willing to pay for it. And if ease of access is only getting better with things like Nintendo putting their everything's on Switch Online for free now with the expansion pass, and like Sega's been doing all their collections and the minis. And it's like the more accessible stuff is, the less people are likely to pay a premium just to play it on the original hardware.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's interesting, Trent, that you're seeing it the way that you are, but then you're seeing a lot of people. I mean, the other thing too is like people know Retro Games Plus, and they know that they can go there and they can get cash for their stuff, and so it puts you guys in a good position to get a lot of good inventory. And I imagine you can kind of set the price for yourselves as far as what you want to pay for that stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, we have to be able to
still be able to, give a decent price, but it's mark to market,
Yeah, like most people are understanding. Sometimes people get upset, and I try to explain, like, we do the best we can, but it's like we have to pay the power bill, the landlord. I cost money to be there. Everybody else costs money.
And you're actually taking the risk on what's happening with the market, because if the market continues to drop,
that profit margin.
You're the one taking the risk on that.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like we're playing more of a gamble. It's like you're getting cash immediately, so it's like we're offering that service where you can just come in, get rid of it. Here's money, buy. Whereas I have to sit there now. Okay, how am I going to sell this? Will it sell for the margin I would like?
Right.
Or am I going to lose money? Things all kind of factor in.
Right. You got something to say?
Mm-hmm.
What is that?
Should I have my own channel?
Yes. That's a whole nother conversation.
Probably not.
That's a whole nother conversation. But you are welcome to have your own channel if you want.
Probably not.
You got to come up with a really good name first, though.
Turbo Junior.
Wow. That's perfect. It took him all of 5 seconds to figure that out. Wow. The youth really has it, I'll tell you what, I don't, because I realized I was becoming an old man. Not that I'm an old man, but like I realized I was becoming like a little older. The other day, I went and I was peeing at the urinal, and I put my hands in my pocket.
Okay.
Like I just, like naturally, I just was like, I'm gonna put my hands in my pocket.
Why?
You haven't gotten to the stage where you're doing that.
Yeah, but that's a whole nother scenario when you're doing that. I did see a guy, an old guy who was like in his late 70s with like a jacket, like a big jacket on.
From church?
No, this is like years ago, urinating at a urinal, and like his hands were hanging like the knuckle walkers in Turtles 2, the arcade game, in the dojo. His hands were just like hanging down like this with this like big puffy coat while he's urinating. I just thought it was so interesting. It's always stuck in my brain.
So weird
that he was doing that, like to leave your hands in that unnatural position.
Trying to catch a look. Is that what you're doing?
I was behind him. I was over by the sinks, but I noticed it and I was like, this is such an interesting thing. But then the other day I'm peeing at the stall and I just very naturally put my hands in my pockets and I was like, wait a minute, there's something off about this, but it feels so comfortable.
What?
I'm glad you could share that with us on this gaming podcast. Urinal behavior.
Listen, you want to talk about crazy? I went on Amazon the other day. I went downstairs. This is one of the cold days before it started to get warm up here in the Northeast. And it was a morning. I was half asleep. I go to sit down to do some business, and I got a jolt. You know what I'm talking about. You sit on a fiery cold seat. Right?
A fiery cold seat.
Oh, this.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that happens with me.
And you just get that jolt. You're like, ah, you know? And I was like, never again. I said, I'm done. Like, why do I have to live like this?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You know?
So when you sit on a toilet seat, why do I sound like this? Do I sound okay?
That's
Yeah,
just your voice.
You sound awesome.
Okay.
Go ahead. Explain sitting on a toilet seat.
Oh, is that what you didn't say that.
Go ahead.
So the toilet seats at our house are very old. The people that lived here before us did not clean their toilets.
That has nothing to do with sitting on them, though.
Okay, but when you sit on our toilets, they're freezing cold.
Right, especially when it's cold out, right?
Yes.
So
we bought these.
So so I said, I'm done.
This is called.
I'm not doing this anymore.
This is a toilet podcast.
I went to Amazon.
Threw it out the window.
They have a 5-pack of seat covers. Nice, cushy, like carpeted.
They're awesome.
Just like wonderful little, just circles of comfort. You know.
Does like Nintendo or Sega make these? What are we doing?
Toilet podcast.
Listen, that's going to be our next one. Is the toilet. I will never. I'm just talking about getting old, right? Like I will never sit on a cold seat again. My wife is disgusted. She said this is disgusting. These are going to get full of urine. I said I don't care. We can take them off every 2 weeks and put a new one on. They're
I have to sit on
$15 for a pack of 5. So you might think that I'm going to say eventually that I was playing a Game Boy on the toilet. That's not coming.
No.
It's just that I have toilet seat covers now, and I'm never going to sit on them because I'm fed up, because I'm old, and I'm not going to do it anymore.
Should I have a channel?
So having said that,
right.
Let's get into a video game conversation.
Should I have a channel?
Yes, you should.
Yeah,
Turbo Junior.
We
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then I'm gonna have to buy a camera. Well, I already have a stand. It's in my closet.
All right. What are you guys playing right now? What's going on?
Me.
Absolutely nothing.
Me.
Go ahead.
Me.
Go ahead.
Who am I?
I've been playing this. I hate that we're on a retro games. No, not retro games. Like
Retro gaming podcast.
yes.
Well, then leave.
And I talk about. Don't tell me what to do.
You said you hate
That's
it.
not nice, Uncle Trenton.
He said, I hate that I'm on this podcast.
No. What you didn't let him finish. He said because I talk. He was going to say because I talk about modern stuff. That
Yeah,
I'm
but it's
playing.
all good, baby.
It's all good. Listen, you talk for what you are, like what generation you grew up in. So
You don't have any. Nothing can be retro to
eventually,
you yet.
for you, what you're talking
What do you
about
mean I
right now
grew
is
up
going
in?
to be
I'm
retro.
not
This is going to be retro at some point.
Sure.
So go ahead. What are you playing right now?
Talk to him.
Minecraft.
Minecraft.
Oh, get out of here.
It's always a quintessential favorite.
Wait, are you still playing Fortnite?
No.
Not as much.
We'll get back into it.
Probably not.
We'll get back into it. We're gonna get back into it. I said.
And,
So Minecraft, huh?
And-
Still stuck on the Minecraft.
and Roblox.
Yep. Sal got me signed up because it's on PS5 now.
Yeah.
Minecraft?
No,
Nope.
Roblox.
Roblox. So
Oh.
we were doing a couple piggy levels together. You know.
Okay.
But having said that,
Nobody cares, I
That's
guess,
modern gaming,
at all.
and yeah.
Well,
Ryan, I know you're playing like Hogwarts Legacy for the 6th time, but are you playing anything retro? Have you dived or delved in?
Have you dove in?
So
Dived?
yes, I'm on my 600% run through of Hogwarts Legacy because I love that game.
And
Man,
how does that make you feel about
That
yourself?
is cool.
I like it. It's enjoyable. It
Okay,
relaxes me.
Mikey.
Hey,
What
it
else?
relaxes me.
What else you want to tell us?
But other than that, I started playing through. Well, I mean, I was playing a lot of Streets 4,
Am I right though, Trent?
which isn't technically retro.
No, Streets 4 is perfectly acceptable.
But I was playing a little bit of that too when I was home sick the last month, and then the only other like retro game I've been playing was got about halfway through Hercules Action Game again.
For PS1?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have it. I haven't flipped the switch on it yet, but
we can remedy that tonight.
yeah, we might need to. Yeah.
It's
It's a good game. Yeah, it's solid. It's at least it looks solid.
underrated in my opinion.
Yeah, it's some of those Disney. I mean, look at the Genesis, right? I mean, look at all those Disney games on there. Well, that's cool.
The
But you know what?
genocide.
I also played a little Minecraft.
And some Minecraft.
Wow, Minecraft.
Now I feel like Minecraft is that kind of like, okay, I'm done playing my normal game. I just want to have something that I can kind of like comfort food, like veg out to. I'm gonna
you
go.
can do
I'm gonna
anything
go
you
cut
want,
up some
really.
blocks. Kill some octopuses
Just
and
stack-
stuff.
You could do
and,
that.
Just like stack
Or you
3,000
could spend
dynamite.
2.5 hours making the most efficient farm possible because you're a nerd. It's fine.
Isn't that Harvest Moon?
No.
Oh.
That is also a farming game, but there's a little bit more in that because there's like relationship metrics and stuff like that. Minecraft's just like, we don't care about that.
That's cool.
Just gonna build me some wheat fields.
So Ryan, do you know what netherite is?
Mm-hmm.
So you go into the nether and you find the what is it called? Like the nether scraps or something?
The nether regions.
Nether rock, yeah.
The nether rock. No, but there's something with scraps. I can't remember. And then you put them in the furnace with
Doug Furnace.
I can't remember with something, and you make the ingots. But what is terrible is that you only get one ingot.
I hate when that happens.
Isn't it just fire and the metal, like the raw metal
No, it's
in the furnace?
it's coal, or you can put wood in there too, but it's normally like coal. Well, coal is no.
You gotta use coal or something to make the fire.
Yes.
And then the two pieces that make the actual
Yeah.
netherite ingot.
Cool.
Sick.
Nice. Well, I have been playing some retro games.
Too bad.
For a couple of different reasons, but I got into Burger Time again on the ColecoVision. I love that version.
The ColecoVision.
I don't know why it is. I think it's a little bit more balanced. I feel like the Nintendo version's a little bit harder.
It is pretty rough.
So the ColecoVision version, for some reason, I know the patterning of each of the different sausages and pickles and eggs. So I know where they're going to be and when, and so I can kind of time it, and I can get a lot farther in that game, and I can flip the board and get to the second round, which is kind of cool because I feel like, I beat it, So that's kind of like my goal every time is can I flip the board and actually go back to the first level,
Flip the boat.
But it's just a great game. I've got the ColecoVision in RGB on the CRT, so it's really clean looking, and I've got the NES style controller. So, you really got to do some work with the ColecoVision if you want to play it properly. But I'm having some fun with that. Dungeon Explorer again for Sega CD. Finally beat the second dungeon with Brother Alan.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
So
Seemed like a 12-year game.
it's just one of those things. Like when he comes over, if we get a chance to play it, we played it on a TV.
On a TV.
As you would. You didn't play it on a vanity mirror.
Into my mind.
You didn't do that.
Oh, that would be something. If we played it in reverse on a mirror. We just played it backwards, like you're watching the basketball game while you're looking outside and seeing the snowflakes fall.
So like the first 2 hours where you just you run into a castle, kill a couple guys, come back out, kill a couple guys, back out, keep doing that for 3 hours until you level up, and then you can play the game.
Are you sure?
So
Because I remember the last time we were, that's all.
Yeah.
It was 2 hours. Well, we got to run in this castle, just kill 4 guys, then run back out.
that's because you weren't leveled up at all. We were trying to level you up.
I know. I was this is just ridiculous.
But I won't lie. The night before Alan came, I did farm gold for about 2 hours, so that I have enough gold so that we could actually get some better armor, which is how you level up in the game.
Really?
Basically, I mean, you can level up and get more health, but to really level up your weapons and stuff, you have to have gold to be able to do that. So
Gold is the worst
okay, you're talking about Minecraft again.
Yes, it's the worst thing in Minecraft.
it all goes back to Minecraft.
It's a soft metal.
Oh yes,
but it's good
definitely.
currency.
Well, yeah.
I did play some of the games I got from the show, and a couple of them. One of them that I didn't get at the show, but I got in the mail around the time was Escape from Monster Manor, which is the first-person shooter style game that's on the 3DO. And really, the way I can describe that is it's because I've played through a few levels now. It's like a shareware game, but like a really good one.
So not that great.
Just really simple. All you got to do in each level is get all the keys and get the relic at the end. And there's ghosts and grim reapers coming after you.
So do you attack? Do you have like a weapon?
Yeah, you have a weapon.
Oh, okay.
You like you shoot it and it's got ammo and you got to get more ammo. But it's really really simple. It's like I like it because it's so simple. You know, there's not a whole lot to do, and I like the cleanness of that old style of the graphics. You know, so it's just a fun little. You just want to do something for an hour.
Fun little romp.
Yeah, and you don't have to know too much. You just point and shoot. Open the doors and look for the relic, and it's got a good map system, so you can kind of go back and forth and see where you've been and where you're going and all that.
Does it save?
Yep, you save after every level.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I can boot it up and get into the 4th level.
Does it save to the system?
Yeah, there's internal memory in the 3DO.
Not bad.
Yeah, and then Medal of Honor Underground. I started playing that. I remembered.
Was that PS1?
Yeah, I remember how good that game is. Just like that is talk about like going from a shareware kind of game, which was like a fun little pet project for EA, to like a game that had high production values and was made really well. Even though it was made for like a lot of those late era PS1 games really show like how they stretched the PS1. And I'm not saying it's a graphical powerhouse game, but just in how the development was, how it was put together. You feel immersed in that world. Like you feel like you're a French soldier in World War II. And the
was that like one of the last ones for the PS1?
I think it was like 2000 or 2001 that game came out.
They did up to I think 02 or 03. Like there's some real late ones.
Yeah.
I was say it's funny you mentioned that because my brother.
It's so good. I love it.
My brother's actually been asking me lately because he's been getting
and it's cheap. It's a $10 game if that.
Yeah, he's been getting into different things that we grew up with, and he's got on a Digimon kick right now. And there was a few Digimon games on PS1, and there's one that was a fight.
I used to watch that after school.
It was like a fighting game called Rumble Arena, and we were looking at it. It came out like 01 or 02. Well, the graphics are insane.
Yeah, I bet.
It looks like a PS2 game. It's so polished. What they could squeeze out of that little box is crazy.
I know. No, it is really cool. As much as I'm like a Saturn homer, like a lot of those PS1 games, those late era ones, they just had such like care and effort and money put into them because it was getting to the point where people were, you know, they were these production companies were putting a lot of money into games. Like that era is like a transition period between smaller teams and smaller budgets to like big things. Like Metal Gear Solid, I think was Metal Gear Solid and
oh, there we go.
Is this KB Toys in 1994?
Remember when you weren't going to be doing that?
Hey, he said I could.
I did tell him at one point in the podcast to just make it go off.
Set it off.
Yeah, that was a Dollar General fine today.
Can I go grab my water?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, you may not.
Yeah, so where was I? So it was an interesting sort of turning point, and you know the PS1 did that for the industry. You can argue whether or not that was a good thing in the end, but you know
Good.
It's a great game. So if your brother wants to get into some of that late era PS1 stuff, there's some good stuff there. You know, the old, like even Bloody Roar, like I love that's a kind of a later era game. Bloody Roar 2 came out, I think, as well.
Yep, 1 and 2
on PS1. Did they make one for PS2?
Yeah, 2 of them, 3 and 4.
3 and 4.
Yep.
All right. How are those?
3 and 4.
Really good too.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of those fighters are just solid. Although my brother wouldn't be purchasing any of these. As with our entire childhood, I am the one that purchases the toys, and we share. And then that's what happens. Granted, we're in our 30s now, but you know, hey, some things never change, as they say.
Got it. Cool.
Sick.
Any pickups, guys?
Yes. Well,
Do you want to show them, bud?
You got really excited and then you got really timid all at the same time.
I did. Well,
So why don't you show them what you got, dude?
okay. So
show me what you got.
So this is your
So-
old.
my old Leapster.
That's his old.
That's my first.
Okay,
Leapster.
show a good. Yeah, you got to turn it.
Yeah, it's a brick.
So that's Sal's first Leapster. Let's show the screen.
My first Leapster.
So this was a 2004, 2005, Ryan, like early child.
It was like
video
I was
game
in, like,
system.
middle school, end of middle school when they came out.
Yeah, so this was Sal's first one. I think Trenton, you found this for Sal back in the day.
Probably.
Yep, and then I found this died, and then
I found another one.
we found this one, which was I think technically for a girl.
I'm not a girl. My
But-
gender is a boy.
Okay,
I'm not a
right.
girl.
but you know,
no one was questioning that.
It still has a D-pad and 2 buttons.
Yes.
So, and this one actually had a video out that you could play it on the TV.
What an upgrade!
Yeah. So this one was really cool.
Think we could send it to Marcelo, have him upgrade the screen on it.
Yeah, we can have him RGB mod it. So these two have very similar screens, which you know that's a standard size for a video game portable back then.
They just removed the stylus holder on the.
But then I found this the other day.
Yeah, found it.
The biggest one ever.
I didn't realize they made a leap pad or whatever, Leapster, that had a screen that was like
huge.
Almost double. It was like 50% bigger, almost 75% bigger than these ones here. So, you know, what I like about the Leapster is that it's a way to play video games, but also learn things at the same time. So kids can actually have fun. It's almost like it reminds me of, remember those old computer games where
like the Jumpstart
like
games?
Math Blaster.
Oh yeah,
you know, it's kind of like that, but with Star Wars and Disney. So I thought that was kind of cool. Oh, that was my syllabus here. Trenton, you got anything?
Syllabus. I have one item on the never-ending quest for the Jaguar collection.
Ooh,
is
one of the wait! I thought you already owned all the Jaguar stuff. Except for Atari cards.
Well, you know, if you would check your text messages every once in a while, you would know I sent this to you a few days ago.
Listen,
and you didn't say anything.
I'm acting like I don't know this one. Okay, I'm trying to stay in character here. But I didn't realize that you didn't own this until you
is a Syndicate for the RE Jaguar. So this is the one I had the manual for.
I had this back on the 3DO back in the day.
Syndicate, really? I don't think it's good. But yeah, this is one I had the manual for.
It's not.
Yeah, I had the manual for, and someone had it listed on Mercari with the box and the cart. And I had
figure.
I had a $10 coupon and like $15 in my Mercari account. So I just sent him an offer for like $50 because that's to use the coupon you have to spend $50. That's how they get you. So he had it for like $57, so I just offered him $50. And yeah, so I got it. It came in the mail like 2 days later.
The box looks pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, the screen, like the pictures of like the screens are brutal. Like they're like so pixelated you can't even like see what's going on.
It looks like SimCity.
That was no way to sell a game. Like look at on the like the bottom picture.
Oh my gosh! It looks like you just expanded a JPEG from that you got off of Google and just put it in a Word document.
Yeah.
Wow.
And put it in a PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah. And then printed it.
And then scanned that in.
And then scanned in the print.
But I have it. So.
But you have it.
Yeah. So now we're Atari carts.
That's the last one. You have the boxing manual, right?
Yeah. But, you know, I don't think I'll ever find the...
What's do you know what a full set of Jaguar stuff is worth?
I mean, I could tell you in a minute because I have it on them.
I'm just curious what it is.
I have it on my Game Eye app, like all the games. I'm only missing one game, so. I mean, I could pull it up if you want to talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah, I'm curious. Well, I'll talk about a couple of my pickups. So, I did get a pseudo Saturn cart. So that was one of the things that I was looking for.
A what?
A pseudo Saturn cart, which has the region free
to play Japanese import games.
Not only to play Japanese games, but also to have the RAM expansion. So if you remember, I died and went to heaven when I found Metal Slug at the at the show.
Hey, you can't talk if you're not over here.
Why didn't you talk like that while we're on the show?
Love how you hit you with like bro. Bro.
It's like,
now we got the audience members calling out. I mean, that's a better place for you. Sit on the guy on the couch, just chilling and just like giving the comments, you know. But yeah, so I found a pseudo Saturn cart. I was finally able to pop in Metal Slug. And I didn't mention that during games I'm playing because I didn't want to, spill it then. But just having a complete blast playing Metal Slug. I mean, I think I enjoy it more because I am playing it the way that I want to play it with a Saturn controller on a Saturn on a PVM. Like, it's just like everything's colliding in the way that in my brain provides a lot of pleasure, So it is a great version of that game, and I don't care how you play Metal Slug, it's always a good time, especially if you can play it. I don't know. There's something about playing a game like that, and I think any retro game on a CRT, that's just a different experience. Now, I didn't ask you this. I was going to ask you this when we were picking up dinner tonight, but do you primarily play, at this point, retro games on a CRT, or do you play on an LCD TV?
So primarily for me, just because of space issues and things like that, I'm pretty much primarily on a flat screen, just a regular TV.
Because I remember you were a big composite
when I had
CRT TV person.
If I had more room today, sure, absolutely. But it's one of those things where it's like I just don't have the feasible space to have extra TVs right now.
Yeah.
Oh, you can make space.
Nah, fam.
So basically what you're telling me is that whenever I get another TV, I can tell Liz I'm just storing it for Ryan.
You can say what you like. I'm not going to be involved in any
I'm storing this for Ryan. It's not going to go over any better, but I can use it. I can try.
But yeah, because for a while I had a 13-inch one that I really liked, and I still kept that one because it was so small. It was like, okay, I can play stuff on there. So I played through Dark Cloud on that, and it was just
nice.
Like I have it on my PS4, and I can play.
Do you prefer to play retro games on a CRT?
Yeah, it's just there's something about it. Like
Nothing under 24 inches is my motto.
How big is the Wega or the Trinitron that you have? Is it 24?
Yeah.
25?
24.
21?
Not 21.
That's
I think that's like the perfect size, like 24-inch.
24 inches.
Because like when I was at my apartment prior, like we had like a 36-inch or 32-inch, whatever the size Trinitron, which it's
CBD drink. It's good.
We got it because it was the same size as the one I had as a kid growing up, like in our living room. But it's so heavy. It took 4 guys to get it up those 3 flights of stairs.
Right.
4 guys.
4 guys to get it down.
Listen, I had to remove the Wega with Steve a couple of weeks ago, and I nearly threw my back out.
Mm-hmm. It's great though.
A 32-inch?
Yeah. Or whatever. Yeah, 32. I think that's like, if it wasn't so heavy, it's like the perfect.
Sure.
It's a perfect TV. Like if you're,
but then maybe
if you
like
get one and you have a house and you're like pretty much you're not gonna move and like.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's me, and I still didn't want it. But then
I know, but that's you. But I'm saying for me, that's like I would definitely want.
If it was like a JVC,
size.
like IR or something like that, like okay, fine, because they're not that heavy, and if I needed to move it because I had to because it broke or something like that, I would feel a little bit more comfortable. Those Wegas have so much metal in them. And they last. I mean, they last a long time. So, like, what if now I'm like 60 and this thing dies and now I need to take it out of my house? I mean,
you got to pay somebody now.
And I'm not going to trust them as much as I'm going to trust myself. I got stairs they got to go down. And I just was like, you know what? I don't need this anymore. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And we'll get to why in a minute. But
yeah.
I will say, like, my favorite.
I wouldn't have gotten rid of it if I didn't replace it.
I stick by my story.
Yeah. Which is coming up, which I've been retentive about for the last like 3 podcasts. But go ahead.
I was gonna say I would say the ones I usually recommend, just because they're ones I really liked.
Emerson.
No, so I've had
Dynex.
I've had Trinitrons. They're
Dyna
don't get me
brand.
wrong. Like Trinitron was the standard forever.
Yeah.
But late era Toshibas, the flat screen ones,
the AFs,
so much nicer.
The AFs.
I don't know the model number. I just remember because I had a 24-inch one and a 13-inch one.
Yeah.
And the picture was just as bright, just as clear, and they weighed about 50 pounds less.
They do. The slot masks weigh way less.
And it was just as good a picture. And I'm like, this is so much nicer. It had the 24-inch had component on it. It was like perfect.
So that's what I'm looking at, a 24-inch Insignia right now with component inputs. What? I'm picking it up on Wednesday.
It's just like, hey, I'm looking at another TV right now.
It's 1 in, 1 out, right? It's 2 in, 1 out. It's 2 in, 1 out.
Yeah, because you want to have more than. Yeah, you always want to have more.
Listen, I just got rid of a 32-inch, 200-pound behemoth. This should be by pounds, baby.
I'm talking pounds, baby.
I got rid of an extra 100 pounds, so I should be able to get 100 pounds worth more of TVs.
Don't look at me. Stack them up. Like, I don't care. Put them everywhere.
Well, I said like
make your living room like a doctor's waiting room. Have it like sitting up in the corner.
I said to Ryan earlier, I said like a ferret.
Looks like a Sears in '94.
I said like a ferret. There needs to be poop in every corner.
Yeah.
Like every corner needs to have a CRT in it.
I'm with you, dog.
Like a different station. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
what do you mean you're eyeing it? Like someone's just holding it for you? Got a bow on it and everything?
Yeah.
What, around town? Somewhere?
Stratford.
Oh, they're just holding it for you for...
Yeah, we've been going back and forth trying to find a date to get together and...
Switch numbers, swap spit, that kind of thing.
No.
Go to a baseball game.
What's the JVC thing? What is there something better about
the
that
D
one?
series is supposed to be like this great TV. The Toshibas, like, so the Toshiba AFs are supposed to be like some of the best. The late model Panasonics are supposed to be really good. So like a lot of those late model slot masks are supposed to be good. They're not a Trinitron. Like a Trinitron is the gold standard, but those are almost just as good.
It has a component inputs on the back.
So this one is an Insignia, which
Insignia. So it has to be later because those were
2006.
Oh, 2006. Wow.
And the guy was like, we barely used it, but it's been sitting there for so long, and I just need to get rid of it. It's a 24-inch, and I'm like,
and no one's like, I'm surprised like no one's like, well, that's what I'm saying. I'm having trouble trying to get rid of mine, and like.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not in the selling game. If I was going to sell it, I'd just give it to him.
No, No, I know, but is he selling it or just getting rid of it?
He's selling it.
Did he have it for like high, like
30 bucks?
Oh, okay. So
yeah.
20. You said 24.
24 inches. I think 24 inches is a nice medium between weight and screen size.
I really like the 27, ideally.
So
mine's great.
Most retro enthusiasts want a 24. Like that's their ideal size. Is like the elusive 24-inch TV.
I feel like that's almost like this. That was like the size of like the arcade monitors, maybe.
Maybe. I don't know. I honestly don't know, but like there's more 27 inchers than there are 24 inchers, and so.
Well, we think because people back in the day that was like their main TV, and they didn't want a small TV, and 27 was probably like the average.
But let's be honest, today in today's age, like if you're playing on a CRT, you're usually decently close to the screen. You might not be right on top of it, but
I know. Yeah, that's how I am. Yeah.
So you want to be close to it. So I mean, I think a 24-inch gives you that.
I just wanna be close to you.
Gives you that size where you can see it kind of in full view and kind of immerse yourself in it without having to be necessarily right on top of it.
Do all the things you want me to.
You good?
Yeah, I just sing that to my CRT.
Listen, I get it.
When I'm playing.
I get it. So it's, and I'm noticing that the CRTs, like we said earlier, are kind of like climbing in price. So it's like, I hate to say it, but like, I feel like I'm fighting off the hipsters. Like I gotta get a few of these things that are newer, like later model ones that can last for a long time. Cause I don't know how long the ones that I have are going to last.
I see people listing them. I'm like, nobody's going to pay that. Like
they're not going to pay it until they pay it, though. They're not going to pay it until they pay it. That's the thing.
Like, you know what I mean? No one's paying $200 for your TV. Even though you think that's
but nobody was going to pay $150 for Gunstar Heroes until they started paying $150 for Gunstar Heroes. Like. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I was gonna say it's almost like
I agree with you. Like it sounds ridiculous.
I was just saying you probably know more about it because you're more into the music stuff. So you remember when vinyl got big again randomly out of effing nowhere?
Yeah.
It's almost like that where it's like a bunch of 20 somethings saw something their parents were into and they're like, oh, it's so uncool. I'll buy it.
It's still the.
I mean, vinyl's a little different. It's still the
thing. Yeah.
Because
it's like
Best Buy's getting rid of their CDs, but they're keeping vinyl.
Yeah, well, vinyl's like vinyl is like a resurgence. Yeah. Like it's been for a few years now.
Right.
It's
like a decade.
It's more of a collecting thing. But I tell you, if we to do a little sidebar here, I got a Onkyo receiver.
Yeah.
For really nice one. Like has Wi-Fi.
Is that considered like a good brand?
Yeah.
Like a Pioneer.
Is really nice. It's kind of like like your setup. It's got 6 HDMI ports in the back.
Oh wow, okay.
But it had a phono input for a record player. Oh. So I got that, connected my record player to it, and I got like a PA system for my friend. Oh, sounds so good.
Yeah.
Putting a record on there.
Nice.
Oh man,
I would say that's amazing. The only difference though is I feel like
that's awesome.
At least with vinyl you can make the argument it's just as good, if not a superior format to it, because you get more of that kind of analog.
But it's like video.
You feel like you're there with them.
Well, it's like with like VHS, it's just simply an inferior format to what's available. It's like vinyl, you can make.
It's like video game collecting because you're getting the physical copy and like everyone's making like these like cool like colors, like mixed color records and like limited editions,
like
and
the
stuff.
data disc like video game OSTs.
It's cool. It's a collecting thing.
Yeah, where it's like VHS is a little different. Where it's like you could still get a physical copy in a better format.
Yeah.
I think it's just like the nostalgia, and then again the hipster.
Yeah, so it's like I feel like I need to like stock up on some of this stuff because let's say I just get complacent and I'm like I got my screens that I like and then one of them goes, I got to go get one and I got to pay $200 for a friggin' 13-inch CRT. Nah. You know, like I don't want to be put in that position.
I mean, you got two you got two PVMs.
I do. I haven't mentioned anything. I guess I should mention that.
Well, you pretty much already did. You alluded.
So, the latest pickup in the game room is so this is an interesting story, and then maybe we can get into the Halloween stuff.
Maybe.
So, I made a mistake and watched a retro tech video with Steve Nutter.
This is the true life.
Yes.
I finally broke down and I masturbated.
I try not to do that anymore. So, I was watching this video, and he was saying, you know, the PVM 2530 is, you know, is it the best PVM for retro? You know, and you know, because of the size of it, because of the cube design, because of all of these different factors, it's a nice bright Trinitron screen. You know, it could be considered the best. And I looked at it and I said, I love the fact that there's a PVM that's bigger than 20 inches because I like the 20-inch one. But there's just something.
Still a little too small.
There's just something about it. It's just like it's not big enough. Like I need something that's like we talked about, like 24 inches, 25 inches, right? Something that's a little bit meatier.
I need more square footage.
Right. So
more girth.
So I went. It's funny because I watched this video. I watched this video. I go online and there's an auction for a PVM 2530. Now most of the things.
Would you get out of here?
So most of the listings on eBay now for like stuff like that is buy it now. Or best offer, but they're really not going to move too much.
I mean, they got to be all pretty much like pickups, right? Like local pickup only.
Most of them are, if they're not their freight, and you're going to pay an arm and a leg.
And it will get destroyed.
There was no way.
The amount of things I see of just smashed PVMs,
and that's what this guy Steve talks about all the time. Is people ship things and they're always destroyed and smashed. And like, I would rather the thing go to somebody else than come to me smashed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I look at the listing and I'm like, oh man, it's in like upstate New York. And like not upstate, but like
I'm down for a drive.
At first, I thought that, and I was like, "Oh man, it's in like basically Rochester," and so it'd be like a 5-hour drive to get up there. Trip. My wife would not let me do that. So it was funny because I just started doing business with a client of mine who's in a town that is 30 minutes from the actual TV of where it was.
Oh, did ya? That's convenient.
So I was on the phone. I was on the phone with him, and you know, why are you trying to ruin this story?
I'm making it better.
Okay, that's arguable. So I'm like, I was joking with him. I'm like, you know, because I was telling him I was into like old AV equipment and video games, and I said, actually, I found one that's up your way. Like, you know, I might have you go pick it up for me. Ha ha ha. And he's like, I'll pick something up for you. He goes, we come down to Westchester and I'll meet you and I'll bring it to you if you find something. I was like, really? I was like, if I get something up there, it's gonna be like 100 pounds. And he's like, that's okay. He goes, I'm limber. He goes, we'll make it work.
I'm strong, baby.
I was like, okay. I was like, well, I'll let you know if I win it, and then I'll, you know. So I was like, all right, well, I guess it's fair game for me to bid on. Maybe I won't get it in 3 months, but you know, at least I know it's not going to be shipped and be like destroyed. And so, just cut to the chase. I win the auction. I paid $500 for it, and 2 months later, it's delivered to me. I bring it home. I hook it up. It's in great shape, and now I've got a new video game corner with my PVM 2530. So I got rid of the 32 kV 27, and I gave it to our friend Scuba Steve. You know, it's Nomad Steve.
Nomad Steve.
Yeah. So he's just a wonderful, wonderful man. And so I was able to gift it away and have somebody who loves it use it and get the PVM that I was looking for. So it could die tomorrow.
But it could not.
It could last for 10 years. It could last for longer. I don't know.
Is there a way to check like
there's no way to check the hour count.
No.
But I've noticed I've had to back down the brightness and the contrast because it was just set way too high. And the screen, like the black levels, there's something about PVMs and black levels that the difference between where there's an image and where there's black, it's like, it reminds me of an OLED. You know, it's just that
OLED.
the disparity of it is actually pretty stark. So
it's like sharp.
Very, very sharp.
It's very John
and it's
Stark.
It's a Trinitron. Although I will say, I hooked up the 64 to it, and I think I've decided that a Shadow Mask I like for 64 way better than a Trinitron. I think that the aperture grill, like the
Well, you throwing out all these big words.
yeah, the way that a Trinitron,
Although the aperture grill.
the way the Trinitron actually draws the image and has the slots to be able to push through those electron guns. It doesn't do the 64 justice. It creates a lot of like heavy scan lines, and it just makes it look weird. Whereas a slot mask is a bunch of like basically holes.
Oh, I like feeling slots.
And it looks way better to me with the 64 than a Trinitron. It still looks good, but I think the 64 is that weird, like 3D graphics. There's that weird thing where I think they look better on a slot mask than they do an aperture grill.
Because the 64 outputs video so
right
backwards. I was going to use other words, but we're going to say backwards.
Right. Yeah. So, anyways, now I have 2 PVMs, and it's the start of a crazy collection because I've gone off the deep end, but
we're happy for you.
It's just weird how I was able to like have somebody in the area and then have them actually drive it to me. It was just
it's a funny thing.
It's a funny thing. And then I wanted to mention one thing.
Go ahead.
So we were talking about coming back from the Retro World Expo. And just like we were talking about how, and this is every year, how we're so frustrated by the pricing and the sellers and all that stuff, which we haven't had you on the podcast since then.
Oh, that's right.
And they were blaming you guys, and they were blaming the convention.
It's all Ryan's fault.
They were saying that they pay so much to be there that they have to raise their prices. That the world's smallest violin, and so they have to charge more. And it's like, but you're taking the fun out of it because I bought the Raiden Project. For $10 less than the guy who had it at the show, and it was beat to crap. The registration card was ripped out of it. This was all cracked up and ripped. The manual looked like it had been soaked in water. And this is a pristine copy that I got for $10 less.
Yep. Because this is the problem: is you get guys like this, and they can blame the convention. They can blame me.
They blamed. Actually, they said Ryan specifically.
You need to blame yourselves.
It's fine.
It's that brown guy over there.
It's the brown man. It's the brown man.
I'm gonna just gloss over what's happening and just say this, okay? You have to understand, and it's like.
So it is your fault.
Well, no. It's these resellers aren't realizing. It's like you're not competing with the next brick and mortar down the street now. You're competing with the entire internet.
eBay.
You have to be able to meet that market. If you can't,
where's the money going?
If you're not making margins enough without overpricing, then you're not pricing correctly and you're not buying correctly. And you know what? That's why you're not excelling. That's why you're not growing your business. That's why you only have 1 store, if not 2. And that's why
your wife left you.
But the thing is, these are all factors
you're not growing
that
and
factor into
expanding
that.
properly.
You have to adequately understand how that market's going to change and realize you're accepting that risk when you're buying. You have to have those margins, and you have to be able to pay your employees fairly, and run your business. My boss does a phenomenal job of that. He understands that market. It's why he does so well. And it's like, I'm not trying to just, my boss is the greatest guy ever. My boss is a great guy, but he knows what he's doing.
He's not letting his emotionality get into
he is a
the sales
businessman
process
through and through.
Right.
I mean, he's genuinely.
He's a gamer though. He loves
games all the time. And I honestly, I mean, he plays with some of the managers all the time. He's such a great dude. But the thing is, he has that business mindset that a lot of these smaller vendors don't have because they're just like, oh, I'm flipping. I'm like, you do have to have a little bit of acumen and entrepreneurial spirit to understand that, basic principle.
Like Trenton says, they're not priced to keep.
Yeah,
they're priced to sell.
Exactly. And this is not just video games. This could be anything. You could be selling used car parts. You could be selling, seats,
vintage clothing.
Whatever you're selling, you just have to be able to understand where that market is and try to keep up with it. That's why we're constantly changing prices. It's like we have to.
Right.
Which
is arduous in and of itself.
It's like, and the thing is too is like, it's not a really good business practice to piss off the people who are trying to purchase your goods.
Right. Even though they're not always right. The customer is not always right.
No, that's not to say there aren't Karens out there and things happen, but
So you're blaming everyone else.
No. I'm saying that it's like we don't have control over this. It's like all we can do is do our best to keep up with the market. And it's like at the end of the day, it's like there's always going to be a little bit of a tax for a store because, you're paying to have a business
right.
and a physical location. But at the same time, it's like, oh, I bought this booth. I'm like, cool. Did you factor in how much stuff you're bringing? And is that enough wiggle room for you to be able to price fairly and pay your employees for that weekend? Or did you just say, F it, I'm going to bring everything because I feel like it? It's like, no, you need to factor these things in.
Yeah, it's plus the fun factor, like GamePro.
I don't know where
I don't know where he's going with that, but no, like my thing is too is like
the fun factor to me is the haggle, the fun of it, and like they're not even like good about that either.
I've noticed that. You know what? I've noticed that more because I was sick the entire weekend. I had Lyme again, but like I was sitting, people would come up and they were almost afraid to haggle with me because every other vendor was so aggressive with them.
Yeah,
and not aggressive, but just rude.
Right,
and like so like ice cold to them.
Forward.
I would just tell them flat out like, guys, I'm an easy sell. I'll work with you.
That's Sal's favorite
I don't
thing.
want to bring this home.
Yeah, my favorite game is the haggle.
I know what we paid for it. As long as
my favorite game is the piss
making
off.
a decent profit and it's paying for me to be here in the booth.
Hey, my
it's
man,
fine.
I know you got this for $45, but it's like $25 on eBay.
So
no, like I had a guy come up and he wanted and he was like, "Oh, are you doing trades?" That's another thing a lot of vendors don't want to do. And I was like,
"Yeah, I get that though."
But like my
trades is. Yeah, I mean, I did a trade like 2 years ago.
I mean,
but,
I said it depends what it is. I always tell people, it depends what it is. If it's like, you're coming with 8 copies of Halo 4, I'm going to tell you I'm sorry. But like if like a guy came with a really really rare game and he was like, hey, I know this game's worth this much. Would you give me like 60 credit for it, and then I would pay the difference for this? I'm like, absolutely, that is a very fair
it's reasonable.
Offer. And I'm like, I will work with you, not a problem.
Yeah.
It's like I think just having that little bit of just empathy for the other person and being like, all right, as long as I plan ahead for this, it's going to be fine. And we always do good, and everybody seems to have a good time when they come to our booth. I try to make it enjoyable.
It's a feel-good experience.
Yeah. And it's like, people paid to get in there. They don't want to pay a premium at your booth. No. Especially when, like you said, you can go online and get it for $10 cheaper in better shape.
Yeah.
That's the part that just gets me is like, you want to survive as even just a convention. Like, that would be the thing that if Chris could get any of that, contact out to the places and be like, listen, guys, if there's any guidance I have for you, don't piss off the customers and price it to market. You might lose out on the deal if you've been holding on to it for too long, but you need to be a little bit more progressive with your pricing based off of what the market is showing. If you're charging more than eBay, you're gonna piss off customers. You might sell it eventually, but you're gonna piss off customers.
Well, that's the thing. It's like if you're my whole thing is if you can't be pleasant with the people coming up to your booth. And you can't be pleasant, understand, hey, they're trying to save money too, and they're trying to be fair, and I'm trying to be fair. If you're so forward with them and just apprehensive to everything they're saying to you, why even get the booth?
Right.
Because you're wasting your time, and you're wasting their time.
You drove all the way from, Albany, New York to get down here.
It's like, I sold these 5 expensive things that made my weekend. It's like, cool. I'd rather sell 50 things 1,000% cheaper.
Right.
And, I mean, I'll still make money, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I'd rather sell more items.
Like you're going to have 5 sales the whole weekend, or you can
I'd rather have
100.
more people smiling and coming back and saying, I'm going to go to that store next time I'm in that area because that's cool, Or I'll email that guy.
I can't wait for the people from Massachusetts to go back to the show because that's the first place I'm going to go now.
Yeah, it's like we also people also got to pay like whatever it is, like $30 or $40 to get in.
It's getting more expensive to get in there now.
And it's like I understand, like you got to pay for your booth, but like if it's not like the price is going to drastically change year to year. So you can plan for this relatively ahead of time. It's not like you don't have time, So it's like just take the time and try to make it enjoyable because the happier the customer is, 9 times out of 10, the better off you're going to do.
Right.
So
well, I mean that's how Retro Games Plus has grown. You guys have just really catered to the customer.
And I'm not trying to just say my store is like, oh, we're the best. No, it's like
I will say your store is the best.
But there's other stores that do a good job too. Like I love
Game Exchange is good.
Like Game Exchange is decent, but like Brandon at Retro Junk, he's a genuinely good dude.
He's an awesome person.
I love Brandon. He's such a sweetheart, and he's such a good guy. And it's like he runs that store, and it's so fun to go in there, and he just really gets.
It's really an experience.
Well, yes, I'm saying like shop owners like that, they know that, and they really help that culture. And those are the shops that do well.
They cultivate the culture.
So it's like just that little bit of extra effort. It's like that's all it takes sometimes. And, and you make that smile, and it really impacts.
And that's what it's really, because that's what it's all about, right? What it's all about is good times, good feelings, good memories,
good chicas, good food.
That too, yeah. Because there's a thing. Why are we so entrenched in this like formative sort of hobby, and I think there's an innocence with our childhood that we strive for, you know, and it reminds us of being an innocent youth, and that's part of the intangible in this video game thing that I think gets lost sometimes, is that, you know, it reminds us of a simpler time, you know, and being able to sort of live that out every once in a while is a sweet thing, you know. So let's not ruin it by being kind of nasty.
Yeah, it's like there's no. I mean, I don't get me wrong. Like I get people have bad days, man. I get it. Like I'm not gonna hold that against somebody, but it's like
no, I would.
You know, I
what
was
the heck is wrong with you? You
at a convention, yeah.
Well, I had a fever all weekend on and off, and I'm like,
yeah, but you were fine.
That's my point.
Oh,
you know, it's like,
no, that's my point then.
It's like, you know, I could still get through it. I mean, granted, there's times where I'm like, hey guys, can you cover for a few minutes? I just need a little bit to cool down. That happens. But you know that's why you have.
But I'm saying you can't be nasty at a convention.
No, no, you got to be able to control yourself and kind of work that out. Yeah. And I'm not. I mean, and again, I'm not gonna like yell at somebody if they have a bad day. You know, everybody's got it, but just own up to it and just be like, I screwed up, my bad, dude. Like,
Yeah, man. Well. We'll see how the next show goes. I mean, I'm not going to stop going. Right?
No,
you know, that's not going
to. That's the thing is
that's not going to happen.
The show is so good, and it's just I feel like the vendors are just.
It's our Super Bowl. That's what we say.
They got to catch up to the. Where things are.
It's our WrestleMania.
Right. Cool, man. Well, hey, listen. I appreciate you guys. We're about an hour in.
We're on to episode 42 of the Turbo Duocast.
It's Halloween. Halloween's coming up, and I think as far as if we can transition, as far as
no one's transitioning.
Well, the conversation. As far as genres of video games go, there might I think horror or the stuff that deals in the I call it Zevin, the zombie, ethereal, vampiric, insane, and necromantic.
Yeah, that's what we all call it.
Is actually one of the most concentrated genres in video games. It's actually really popular. It sells. People are interested in that kind of thing. And so there's inevitably there's a lot of video games that are kind of devoted to that motif. So part of what we wanted to bring to you guys today was just not specifically like a horror video game to cover, but maybe so that you could get to know some of our top video games that we love from the past that are of a horror type theme. So what we did is we came up with 5 games each that we had in our top 5 games that we thought were the best or that were the most influential or, for some reason just hit with us as our favorite horror video games of all time, going from, the retro scene. So I thought it'd be fun if we just kind of like ping ponged it and we just do, game 5, game 4, game 3, game 2, game 1. We might have I have a couple honorable mentions that I wanted to bring up.
Oh, okay.
So we can bring those up. And then Trenton and I also had what we thought each other's top 5 would be.
How well do you know your gamer?
Yeah. That's I don't know how you're spelling that, but okay.
No, I don't. I spell it correctly.
How do you spell it?
Gamer.
Okay.
Why? How would you? There's no other way to spell it.
That's what I thought.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, why would you ask then?
I wasn't sure.
Oh, but if there's only one way.
I wasn't sure if it was Gaimr, MER.
And why?
Yeah.
Why?
What do you mean?
Why would it be like that?
Because I'm not great at spelling.
Oh, I didn't know that about you. Wow. Yeah. Maybe these lists.
I'm good at math. I'm good at math. I'm not good at spelling.
Maybe this list will be way off then.
So
it might be.
Here, Abbott and Costello.
Who's on first?
So wait, should we just? Well, what do we show that after we're done? I guess.
No. I think we should both say what our top 5s are. Ryan was a late addition to the podcast, so we don't have a list for Ryan. But then we'd have to all come up with lists for 2 people. So, Ryan, you're welcome to come to the podcast, but you're not going to be involved in this part of it if you're comfortable with that.
Also, haven't known you for 25 years.
Yeah. So I'll just say what I think Trent's top 5 are. You can say what my top 5 are, and
they're not. I just put them at just 5 games.
I don't know what your order is. I'm just
saying 5 games.
Yeah.
Okay, guys.
So I've got the 5, and then guys, remember what these are and write them down so we can
get out your notepad.
Keep score.
Let's do this together.
So I have Trenton's top 5 as in no specific order.
Mm-hmm.
and this I wrote this down while Ryan was here, Trenton. So, don't think that I did anything after the fact.
I mean, okay, I guess it doesn't matter. I didn't like say it was like had to be. I didn't put mine as like horror, but like
no. It can be anything. Anything
like,
that's
okay.
anything that's themed Halloween.
Yeah. Okay, I got you.
Okay, so I said Poltergeist, Friday the 13th, Zombies Ate My Neighbors, Doom 64, and Resident Evil 2. Those are the 5 games that I thought were your favorite. For whatever reason, they were the ones that you felt closest to, that you loved from your formative years.
Okay.
Okay.
Pretty close.
Yeah. Well, you don't just let's.
Yeah. Okay. No, I got you.
Don't spill the beans.
Okay.
All right. So
and then
what are mine?
I put Ghosts and Goblins.
Okay.
Resident Evil.
Okay.
Splatterhouse.
Okay.
Castlevania.
Okay.
And I had 6. So I'm gonna.
Well, that was only 4.
Yeah. No. I had 2 more listed. So I'm like trying to decide.
Do both. That's fine.
And I put.
I have a list of 10.
And I put Zombies Ate My Neighbors and, and Nightmare Creatures.
Oh man. Okay. I'm not gonna say anything, but
Was I way off?
No, I'm not. I'm not gonna.
We're just gonna reveal it.
We're just gonna reveal it. So, there's a lot, and I'll go through some of the other games that didn't maybe make the cut in terms of our lists. But there's a lot of games that I think could make any one of our lists that we'll go through. In terms of my my honorable mentions, I'll just I'll say that after the fact. I'll get us started. I'm gonna say number 5, and then how about we do your number 5, and then Trent will do your number 5.
Okay. Yeah.
And you can just give a light description of why that's in your top 5.
Yeah.
But my number 5 game is Ghostbusters on the Sega Master System.
Ghostbusters. Got me with Ghostbusters.
But you can see why. You can see why.
I forgot about that one.
Ghostbusters was one of the first games I saw when I went to my buddy Matt's house when I moved to my town, Columbia. I didn't know that there were other versions of Ghostbusters that were terrible. The Sega Master System version of Ghostbusters is regarded as the best one. It plays phenomenally. It's a simple game. It's pretty quick, and it's beatable. And it's. I mean, who doesn't love Ghostbusters, right? To me, it's my favorite Ghostbusters game of all time. I know that everybody regards the Genesis one as an awesome game, and then the PS3 one is really good. But for me, just pound for pound, the simplicity of that Ghostbusters game and just the playability of it is just awesome. It's just a great, and the intro, like you can't get over like the intro where it's got like the bouncing ghost going over the words, and it's actually doing the Ghostbusters theme, throughout the intro of it. So it's an awesome game, and it's got to make my top 5.
Okay. I wasn't even thinking Master System just totally slipped my mind.
It's all right. But you can see why, though.
Yeah.
Ryan, what's your number 5?
So my number 5 would be Medieval on PS1.
Ooh.
I like how you had to enunciate medieval. We all say medieval, but that's cool, man.
Spelled.
Why is that?
Because
I had it as an honorable mention. At one point, I was toying with it being in my top 5.
Are you asking me why I announced it that way, or why the game?
Why medieval?
So I never had it as a kid, but one of my neighbors did, and I remember going over and playing it, and I was like, this is really cool. And I think I was allowed to rent it once. So my parents were, mainly my mother was not into like the whole, like, she's like, nothing about like ghouls or demons or whatever. I'm like, it's
so campy though.
It's great. And I remember just
the voice acting is phenomenal.
The first part, and just like you're coming out of the tomb, and like you're just like trying
it's woken up,
trying to find like your sword and stuff. And I was just like, oh, this is so great. And it just
gonna get shot by an arrow again.
Yeah, it's because I'm not a big horror person, so it's like it gets the mood and for the year for me, but it doesn't like make me want to wet myself. So
no, I agree, and that's kind of if it's too, I'll go into some of the more modern stuff eventually, but it was that perfect balance. And I remember I got it for Christmas the year that it came out. I don't know if it was 98 or 99, but I got it, and the production, again, talk about like late era PlayStation production values. Just an awesome game. It just played really well, very simple, just had sort of like a gauntlet aspect where you had to use a key to open a door to get through the main part, but then you had some backtracking to be able to get through the whole thing, and it's just the playability of it was really, really good. and it was just the atmosphere was really good. So it was definitely more than the sum of its parts. And Daniel Fortescue is such an awesome character. He's like a slapstick sort of like goofy hero.
He's like a Charlie Chaplin because he doesn't talk, so it's just like it's his physical.
No, and they used the PlayStation abilities to its advantage, the way they constructed it, but just an awesome game. They did re-release it on PlayStation 4 where it's a remaster in a way, but with new graphics, same engine. And so that one's awesome too, and I think you can unlock the original version if you clear it 100%. But yeah, an awesome horror themed game.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's one I've never PlayStation 1 I didn't really get like
you were 64 you were a 64 kid.
Yeah, I didn't get deep into like the PlayStation stuff. I was a surface level PlayStation player,
I remember because I was anticipating the Dreamcast. By the time I got the medieval game, I was already looking forward to Dreamcast, and I remember looking up pictures of D2 on videogames.com, which ended up becoming GameSpot. But I remember seeing it, and it didn't matter that the graphics weren't like amazing. What it did really well, and it just looked so fun, which is the basis of everything. So yeah, I asked for it for Christmas, and I got it that Christmas, and I played through it relentlessly,
constantly.
That's it.
So actually, my number 5 is the Addams Family on Nintendo.
Wow, on Nintendo.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever played that.
It's not the greatest game, but like when I think of like October Halloween games, like Addams Family is like the quintessential like characters for like Halloween. Especially like the game itself. It's not great.
I gotta play this now. I've never played it.
Ocean made it.
Syndicate.
Yeah, my friend Justin had it, and we'd play it for like hours because there's like. You just get to a certain point where you don't know what you're supposed to do, but
that's how those Addams Family games are. It's like, where am I going? What am I doing?
You have to like collect certain things, and then
is it
would
similar
unlock
to the Genesis
something. One? That's Addams Family Values, right? Or is it just Addams Family? Oh, you have it on the Genesis?
Unless I got rid of it. I thought I had it.
I don't remember you seeing Addams Family.
Yeah, I think I have. It was one of the first red. Yeah, it's one of the first red label games.
Yeah, that's Addams Family Values then, I believe.
Let me take a look while you talk more about it.
Yeah, I mean I don't know. It's not the greatest like playing game, but I just have that nostalgia attached to it because we'd play it so much, and then like when I think of like Halloween and spooky, scary, I just think of Addams Family, and I actually played it like maybe like a month ago or so, and it's still fun. It's still fun to play through. Like hit detection's a little wonky, and like you have to do so much jumping onto like obstacles, like where certain ones disappear. You're in like the bathroom, and you have to get like I think you have to get like a key in one end, but like there's like the bars of soap that are like they're like moving back and forth, and if you accidentally touch it, you just die. So it's like stupid stuff like that. It's like one of those games where you have to like memorize the patterns of everything, and I don't know. I don't know. When I think of Halloween, that's like one of the that's why it's my 5th, my 5, and not any higher.
Yeah, I may have given that to you to trade in.
You might have, yeah.
I may have done that.
You had it in box?
Yeah, I had it complete in box. It's not an expensive game.
No, I know. I don't remember ever you.
It's like you're just going.
I don't even remember seeing it.
It's like it reminds me of like Wiz and Liz. It's like you're just going into random scenes, and then attacking things, and then but you don't. There's not really an objective that you can easily identify. It's just like run around in this crazy place that's got a bunch of different individual rooms.
I'm sure there's. You're in their house.
I'm sure there's something you have to do, but I don't know what it is, and I never was that invested in the game to actually look into what it was because it's just a very average platforming game. So that's probably why I gave it to you. I was just like, I'm not gonna play this. All right, number 4. You might be surprised at how low this is, considering we've only got 5. But it's in the top 5. And it's a game I talk about a lot.
Top 5 Dead or Alive.
And it's Doom on 32X.
Doom.
Did you say Doom as part of my top 5?
No.
You didn't?
No.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. I just didn't think of Doom. I mean, I get it. It didn't like, I knew, like, I was like, Doom? I was like, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's considered, like, horror. I don't know. I just didn't think of that as,
definitely a horror game.
I know, but I don't know. I didn't think of that.
If the Addams Family and Ghostbusters are considered horror games, and Medieval, Doom's got to be. It's a little bit more on the serious tone, but it's still tame, but you're literally in hell.
I mean, I got it.
But yeah, I mean, Doom for 32X specifically is the one for me. I think that's for us who grew up with the 32X and the Genesis. That version was really special to us, as horrible as the sound was and the music and all of that we talk about today. To be able to play Doom on your 32X or your Genesis.
It's horrible.
In your living room. No. The music is just like not regarded well. It's like they just phoned it in and just like ping, 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 ping. So, but that didn't matter to me because I remember when we finally got it hooked up, we were on the phone with the Sega rep to try to figure out how to hook up the 32X. And
you called this.
We had to call him because we couldn't set it up. We didn't know what we were doing.
I remember that was our first episode.
I cut my fingers. My fingers my fingers were bloody with the metal clips because we thought we had to put them in there. And the Sega rep was like, "Yeah, you don't need those. Just put the Genesis in and just fire it up." And I remember we said, "Okay, screw it. Get rid of the metal clips. Just put the Genesis in." I've told this story, but it was 3 years ago and 4 years ago.
4 years ago. And that's when I said, when he said, when the guy said to throw the metal clips out, and I was like, yeah, and then just take the system and throw that out. Just throw the system. But I remember because I don't know why the power was on already somehow. But when we plugged it in, powered it up, but it wasn't on the right input or something. And so when we finally went to the input while we were on the phone with him, and the first thing I saw was the friggin' shotgun and just the blast of the barrel of the shotgun against an imp. And to just have that in my face. I mean, you got to think the most advanced thing I had seen at that point was Madden 94. So to see a first-person shooter on my TV, and it just kind of like, it was one of those things, how you you change the input, but there's already volume coming through, and then immediately when you hear it like really loud, and you just see the guy's hand in the cocked shotgun. So that was the image I got, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I cannot believe what I'm seeing right now. And so I played through that game. You couldn't save it, so you had to play it through in one sitting, but I got at least through the first act or whatever, and it was just a special experience. It was a special time. The 32X was horrible, like a horrible concept, but for a moment, between Doom 64 and Virtua Racing Deluxe, you felt like you had something that was really special. I know that you weren't there. Well, Virtua Fighter was later, but yeah, Virtua Fighter was another one. It was like, man, this is running on my 32X. This is amazing. Although I told the story about the guy getting it way before for the Saturn. Oh. And then I get the one that's got the mallet hands, but it still played really well. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. Doom on 32X, very special to me. Number 4 on my list. Cool. All right.
Okay.
Right guy. Number 4.
So number 4, this is going to be the only technically horror game I've played that I like.
What does that mean?
So things with jump scares and things like that.
Oh, I don't think I have anything on here that's got jump scares, really.
And you might say this isn't really a jump scare, but to me it is.
Any kind of themed.
So for me, it's and this is technically a Dreamcast game, but I didn't play it until I played it on the GameCube, and that was Resident Evil 0.
That's not a Dreamcast game.
Oh no, I'm thinking of Code Veronica. But anyways,
for GameCube.
Yeah, Resident Evil 0. That was the first Resident Evil I played through.
Really?
Yeah, and I just really...
It's a hard one, because you got to kind of go back and forth between the two characters.
Yeah, I liked that one a lot. It just kind of was it was the first game on the GameCube that I was like, this is cool. This is different. Because I really didn't have a GameCube until really late, when they were basically fire sailing them at GameStop.
06?
Yeah, for $20. So I picked up that.
It's crazy to think. I mean, look what a GameCube is now, $100.
Yeah, so it's I remember getting that. And I think I got Resident Evil 0, Star Fox Adventures, and something else. And
Star Fox Adventures.
I still like that game too.
Great.
Happy for you.
Yeah.
But so that's my number 4, just because it just kind of brings back the memories of me like being like, oh, this is the GameCube. This is really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, it is a great game. I played it much later than I played the other Resident Evil games. Mm-hmm. And to me, I thought that there were better experiences that I had played through with Resident Evil, but I'm also a victim of playing those other games first and then playing Resident Evil 0 later on. Mm-hmm. In fact, this guy and I went to Walmart and I bought it with him there. I think it had been out for 6 months. I got it for $20 on the greatest hits.
What?
Resident Evil 0. We went at like 1 a.m.
Jeez, I don't.
To Walmart in North Wyndham.
No, I understand. I don't remember.
Because this was like 02, 03.
Go to Walmart so many times back then.
But we were like seniors in high school, and we would just stay up late in the summertime or whatever. And,
no, I know. We've gone to Walmart so many times, I don't even remember going and you getting that.
You wouldn't remember, but I remembered that. So
with the green label, with the green spine?
No, this would be yellow because it's player's choice.
The player's choice was a yellow. It was across the top, though. I don't think it was all the way down the spine.
No, the top and then the side's got the yellow Nintendo thing instead of the black.
Oh, wait. Where were you? Oh, you said on what? GameCube.
GameCube, yeah.
Oh, for some reason I was thinking PlayStation. That's why. I wasn't listening correctly.
Yeah, here, this label right here.
Yeah, no, I got you.
Player's choice.
Yeah. Players only, baby.
This is a good horror game right here.
Spider-Man.
I mean, technically there is a pretty tragic death.
Yes. Well, it's a tragic game. Trenton, number 3.
Number 4.
Number 4.
It is Friday the 13th on Nintendo.
I have sunk your battleship.
Yeah, that's I mean, we did a whole episode on it. And I still feel the same. I still find it like as a fun game to play.
I was watching a video and a guy was talking about this is recently about like how Friday the 13th is one of his favorite games and he loves playing through it every year.
Yeah, because it's like you can just pick it up and play. There's like
you should try to beat it at some point.
I actually played it last week like a couple times and I couldn't remember like what to do to beat Jason. Like
once you know his pattern, he was probably
I got that, but
bad.
but if you only have the rock, like you hit him like 6 times, it takes like 1 bar of life away.
Right.
You know?
Is there like a knife or something?
Yeah, you get like a knife, and then I think there's another one. It's like a torch kind of thing, and that's the one that would like take the most life away.
So then you're going downhill with a
Yeah.
You got a lot of momentum.
You have like certain you get like picked from 6 of the
campers,
the counselors. Yeah. And they all like one you can tell like one guy will move slow and one guy can move fast, and it's a basic game, but man, I just remember playing that so much. That was like the first like jump scare in like a game, because the first time playing it you didn't know like you go in there and then like Jason's just gonna like randomly pop out and start attacking you. That was like the first like jump scare, especially. And then when you get in the canoe and you're like going to the thing and he just like dashes by in the water. I mean, it's got
atmosphere.
Yeah,
for an 8-bit game.
Yeah, I mean the music kind of repeats, but it's decent. Mm-hmm. I don't know, man. It's still fun. It's still a fun game. Pick up and play game.
If you know where to go and what to do, I'm sure it's a blast. We just don't play it enough, and when you don't know where to go, which direction to go, that's the kind of game where timing is everything. Like you got to know where to go and when.
Well, yeah, because you have a minute, but like what you can do is you can switch like to different counselor, whoever's like closest, and that'll help you.
You should watch like a video guide and like just go through it. Try to see if you can do it with it.
Yeah, and then you also got to know like when you're looking at the map, like left is right and right is left. So like when you got to walk around the whole thing,
so awkward.
I know, but it just has that charm to it that like draws me in.
Yeah, no, that's why I put it in the list for you. I thought that would be one of them. Okay, my number 3.
Now we're in the top 3, baby.
Top 3, baby. So I made a mistake here. I actually put 2 at 3 and 3 at 2.
Whatever.
But number 3, and I'll give this to you, Trent. I'll give it to you because it's the same series. My number 3 is Ghouls and Ghosts
all right.
on Sega Genesis. So it's funny because a lot of the games that I find are my favorite games hit right when I was 7 and 8 years old, right when I was discovering the Genesis. And this is one of them that, that early period where I was playing Altered Beast and Last Battle and Ghouls and Ghosts and Strider and Ghostbusters and Alex Kidd and Space Harrier, like all at the same time when I discovered the Sega ecosystem. And Ghouls and Ghosts was one of them. Even amongst all of those games, Ghouls and Ghosts is probably top 3 of those games. Like, it's just such a well-made game. Everybody knows, made by Yuji Naka before he made, Sonic. Pretty much functions exactly like the arcade version, right? Just a super well-made, like, brought that arcade experience home type of a deal. Really proved that for the Genesis was that one of those early games that set it up so that Sonic could hit when it did and be so successful because of that early period. It was part of that Genesis does, right?
Does.
I've not spent a whole lot of time playing Super Ghouls and Ghosts, and I've played a little bit of Ghosts and Goblins, but for me, in that series, it's all about Ghouls and Ghosts. It's just such a well-made game. It's fun throughout. Yes, you got to play it twice, but the second playthrough is like a quarter of the time because you got the special weapon and you get through it so fast. But it's got great music. It's got really good early graphics, and it's got the atmosphere. It's got zombies. It's got demons. It's got all that stuff, those tropes, right? Of a horror game without being too serious. The guy when he gets hit has boxers with hearts on him. You can't take anything like that too seriously. So it's incredibly nostalgic for me. So Ghouls and Ghosts, my number 3.
Sick.
All right, my number 3 is another PlayStation.
If you name another GameCube game, I'm just gonna slap you right out of here.
No, it's another PlayStation game actually, and it's Jersey Devil.
Oh, I should have saw that coming a mile away.
Yeah,
Jersey Devil.
Yeah, you Jersey boy.
Well, I'm not. My parents are, but so yeah, that was the thing. I remember when it came out. Well, I remember I remember seeing the ad for it, and I think that's what was the precipice of my mom explaining the story of the Jersey Devil to us.
It's not a good game though, is it?
I think it's fun.
The Jersey Devil's a demon, by the way.
I'm fully aware.
Yeah.
Yeah. She glossed
just
over
just like the Mothman.
We were 7, so she glossed over that part.
Yeah.
But
you invite demons, you're gonna get demons.
Yeah, so I remember playing the game, and it's not based off the lore at all. Basically, the whole premise is
they took that and made.
Yeah, they just called it that, but it's you're an experiment from some mad scientist, and basically you're just a kid in a purple suit.
Quick, we need a storyline.
And basically, it's kind of Halloween to me, just because you're walking around different areas.
It seems spooky.
Graveyards and stuff, and you collect pumpkins as the big collectible. So it's just kind of a nice, fun Halloween 3D platformer. Adventure
Listen,
games.
I would accept Banjo-Kazooie as a Halloween game if somebody really wanted to put it in there.
No.
But yeah, that's my number 3 for sure, because it's kind of hits that nostalgic itch, plus it's
You're one of the only ones.
Pumpkins.
Yeah.
Pumpkins.
Anything that has pumpkins has to be a Halloween game. Which
I agree with that.
Which Banjo-Kazooie has. You turn into a pumpkin.
Okay.
In a Halloween level.
Okay.
But you wouldn't know that.
It's a stretch.
Because you've never played it.
It's a stretch.
What is your number 3, Trenton?
Take a guess what my number 3 is.
Oh, gosh. Zombies Ate My Neighbors.
Absolutely not. My number 3 is The Haunting.
Ah!
Starring Poltergeist.
I have sunk your battleship. 2-time.
And you know what's
2-time.
What's even great is that this game came out this week, 30 years ago.
Did it really?
Yeah.
That's good timing.
It came out right around Halloween, too.
Well, that's good timing.
Yeah.
What year, 1992?
93.
They were still using those boxes, huh?
Yeah, it has to be. This is one of the...
EA was able to make their own boxes.
I think this is one of the covers I got from Schwiggity or from somebody else.
Oh, Liggity.
The case, and then the art. And
we need to get you the manual.
Yeah, well, that's whatever. Man, this game is it's almost up to $90 complete now.
Wow.
Yeah.
You had it in the store for a while.
Mm-hmm.
What, the whole thing?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I just noticed this week, it's it's $80, $90 complete now. Whatever. If I don't get the manual, it's not that big of a deal. But man, this it's not a long game, but it's such a cool idea that you're
scare the family.
You're this hip rocking demon dude, and you gotta
demon or ghost.
Whatever. I guess he's a ghost. Yeah, and you just try to you try to scare the family out of their house by like taking over the couch or the dartboard.
The dad, I saw it. Like the dad's got like a tie on, and he's like, not believing in anything, and you gotta get him at certain specific times to get him to freak out.
Yeah. It's like such a cool it was like such a cool idea. It was like the first time I like played a game like that. I think either Ryan Susi had it or he rented it, and we just like, oh, well, if we jump in there, what if we jump in there? How do if we go
so
in that?
Fun.
What
like
happens?
Just the idea of wondering what's gonna happen if you do this thing.
Yeah, it was like such a cool concept for like a game. Like whereas back then we were just you're playing platformers and sports games, and then you play something like this.
You think about a game that's made today that couldn't be made today, not by a major studio at least. That'd have to be made by an indie studio. Mm-hmm. There's nobody that would ever greenlight that because it'd be too much of a risk. But that's the kind of stuff that we're talking about when we talk about like retro games, like The Haunting starring Poltergeist. That's a game that everybody should have an experience playing at some point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I mean, I even tried it at the store, and it's so fun. It's different too, which I like. You could just sit there and just kind of mess around with different things, see what happens.
Yeah,
you can explore the game a little bit.
It is co-op, but I don't remember ever playing it 2-player.
That's a game you got to play by yourself.
Yeah, I don't know what the co-op.
Leave co-op to Streets of Rage 2.
Yeah, and I never really read the back of this, but of course I guess it makes sense. It says from the creators of Paperboy, Cyberball, 720, and Rampart. So man, yeah, really fun game. I guess I don't know if it's worth $90 complete, but I don't know. It's hard.
It all depends on who you are. To you, it probably is.
Now I don't know. I don't know if I would spend. I don't think I would spend that much.
You don't have to. You have it.
I understand that, but I'm just saying if I wanted it now, it's like, I'm not paying $90 for that game.
Right.
But great. Not a lot of people know about it. I
don't think so. It's definitely a deep cut, but it's a good one.
Yeah, man. EA was like they were in their pocket back then.
Yep.
They were in their bag, as they would say.
Yeah, Poltergeist, Escape from Monster Manor. They would do some funky things back then.
I'm just saying, Electronic Arts on the Genesis, man. They were like, man, they had so many games.
I mean, they didn't have to pay for anything. I mean, they basically paid nothing to get the carts. They had the Genesis
sewed up.
Yeah, they did. I mean, they had Sega sewed up. They could do basically whatever they wanted to.
Yeah, we run this.
Yeah.
You hold my pocket. Your name's Bridget.
That's basically a good analogy for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although Bridget was getting paid too.
Whatever.
Yeah. All right. Number 2 is I couldn't decide between 2 games because the reason I'm including them is because they're part of the same series. So I had a tough time with this one, but number 2 has to be Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver, and Legacy of Kain.
Wow, I don't even think I've ever heard you mention those games before.
Well, here's the thing: it's tough for me to go back and play those games all the way through because they're long games. They're like 50 hours, and I'd have to devote a lot of time to them. But I can tell you that if you queue up the intro to Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver, it will make you feel like you'll get the feeling in your spine.
Your spinal.
Talk about the production value of a full motion video, just making you feel like you are ready to go. And the atmosphere, the character of Raziel in that game, and the lore and the story of Legacy of Kain makes that game what it is. And going back to Legacy of Kain 1, which when I was talking about, I think we were talking about the Resident Evil episode, and how I went over Brian Hauschuld's house, and how there were 2 games that I was exposed to, and that was Resident Evil 1 and Legacy of Kain, the original, which is, like a Zelda game, top-down, 2D game, and it's about how this guy, Kain, turns into a vampire and has his fall from grace, and then exacts revenge on the people that hurt him. And then Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver is basically the sequel where now he has become king, and he's got his disciples, and one of his disciples grows wings before him. And so he rips the rigid portions of those wings off and casts him into a pit of fire, which is water, really, but and destroys Raziel. But then Raziel survives. And so it's about him exacting his revenge now that he is a demon, to get his revenge on Cain and all of his brothers. And so it's a Zelda-style 3D adventure game with vampiric tropes all the way throughout. And between the music and the graphics and the storyline, it just hits. It, like, as the kids would say today, it slaps real hard. I know I probably sound like an old man saying that, but it's got everything sewed up so well, right?
Soda.
So yeah, I mean, I wish I could play a game like that more often, but what I usually end up doing is just putting it in, watching the intro, jumping around for a few minutes, and then putting it away.
Is that really what you do?
Yeah, kind of. It's like because I know I can't devote.
No, I know. It's just
that amount of time to it. So then I just play Castlevania for an hour and see how far I can get. You know, but those games are really, really special to me. As much as I don't play them that much, when I had to create this list, they just rank really, really high for me. They're not number one, but those games together, if you take those together, they're really, really special.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. My number 2 is unironically another PlayStation 1 game.
Oh, really? Go ahead.
Almost as if it's the system I started with.
Yeah.
And that would be Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
Oh my gosh. Do you own it?
I do.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I have a copy of it.
With no neck Hagrid and everything. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Sorry.
Is it any good? Does it have a redeeming quality, or is it just because it's nostalgic for you?
I think it's still fun. I think, a lot of people like...
That's an EA game.
Yeah, a lot of people poo-pooed on it, but like for what it was, it did a good job conveying what was in the books and the movie pretty well for what limitations the PS1 had.
Yeah. I think we have Superfly Jimmy Snuka outside the door, just as anybody's asking.
You're not going to get, more than 4 polygons for Hagrid's face. But,
right.
Hey, I'll take them,
I think we're at the point where more of the adults in that movie are dead now than alive.
Unfortunately, which is sad. But,
yeah, it's crazy.
Just being able
There's more adults in Back to the Future still alive than there are.
Well, being able to like get on the broom in the
Harry
game
Potter.
was so cool. Being able to fly around,
You can do that?
Oh yeah. There's like little parts you can do that. Being able to cast spells and stuff, which is cool, and it kind of gets the Halloween vibe.
Is it simple?
Yeah. I picked it up pretty quick as a kid.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Nice, man. Yeah, I mean you got to throw that in there in the hopper. So
my Hoggy Potter and the Hounds of the Baskervilles.
And the Hounds of the
That is not my thing. Well. I heard the YouTuber doing it. I just thought it was funny.
Trenton, number 2.
I was debating which game to put as 2 or 1. But for my number 2, I'm gonna go with Resident Evil, the first one. Because I never
the first one.
I know because you said Resident Evil 2. But
I did say 2.
I've actually never really played that much. Because I never owned it.
And you played 1?
Come on, I played 1.
Well, I mean, see, more than 2.
I barely played 2.
Okay.
Almost not at all.
Where did you play 1?
I don't know if you're asking this just for me to say, or you actually don't remember.
Well, I know that we've played it, but I'm saying
we did remember we did the episode on it, and then remember I rented it from my aunt.
That's right, from the aunt, she was a Sony.
My aunt was working for Sony at the time.
Yeah, I forgot.
And she got a PlayStation for me to use while I was at my grandfather's, and we went to the rental place, and they had Resident Evil, and that was the first time playing it by myself. And I mean that was the first really scary. I mean, I said before that Friday the 13th was, but that was kind of jump scare. But it's mentioned. We mentioned it plenty of times. But that first time going down the hallway, and then the dogs jump through the window, and that
had never been done before.
Yeah, and you gotta turn around, you're oh, I don't know what to do. You're just get me out of here, run, or you try to shoot them, and they're just all over the place.
But it wasn't too scary that you didn't want to jump back in. You're like,
no,
I can beat that part.
Yeah, or then the first time where you walk into the room and the zombies turns around after he's
gnawing on somebody's neck.
Yeah. I don't know. Just everything about that one. It's like a cheesy B horror movie in a video game.
Right.
I mean, and obviously it's iconic too.
Yeah. No,
that's my number 2.
It's tough to top.
Just because I haven't played it almost since then, and it's not one I'll probably really go back into. You gotta devote a lot of time to a game like that.
I mean, you can save it, but it does take some time. That's, it has, look at that Soul Reaver effect for me, but Soul Reaver is a much longer game than even Resident Evil is. But I mean, you can't argue with that. And you know why you can't argue with that, Trenton? Because Resident Evil 1 and 2 are my number one. I couldn't pick between the two. Well, I love them both so much.
Let's just say you had to pick one right now.
2.
Okay.
If I had to pick one, Resident Evil 2.
If you had to pick one, it would be 2.
If I had to pick one, it'd be 2. 1, 2. Resident Evil 1 and 2 are just so close, though, for me. The Resident Evil 1 is the first one that I did play, and I think it's definitely the spookier of the two, is Resident Evil 1. I think 2 is more polished. In terms of just a straight-up horror game, I think 1 is definitely the one. But
the vibe.
If you're asking me what game I like better, it's probably 2, but in terms of a horror game, 1, you know? So that's why I put down 1 and 2.
No, I got you.
There's just something about those Resident Evil games that, for the time that they were made, the atmosphere, everything, you could ad nauseum. To me, it's the best representation of horror in a video game that balances action, storyline, being scary without being too scary where it's going to ward you off. Because I'll tell you what, like, especially since becoming a Christian, right? Like, there's certain things that I can't play and I can't be involved, like I can't watch, because there's just a conviction that I have that I can't go down that path again. And so, like, I remember when I got Fatal Frame for the PS2, and the game was so scary that I had to put it away, and I never played it again. I didn't know why, and it's just so demonic in a way that's not just spooky, scary, jump scare, frightful, but campy. It's actually like, it gets you to your core. Like, to have a ghost like haunt you in the game is different than Resident Evil. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, if you played Fatal Frame at all. Mm-mm. But that game is on a whole nother level. I can't play that stuff anymore, and that's where it stops becoming fun. And one of the things I wanted to mention is that a lot of these newer horror games, like what's the PS4 game, Dying Light. I had to stop playing that game. It's too much for me. I don't know if it's because the graphics are too real, but they've created it in a way where it's just gotten so realistic that it starts to mess with my head. Like, I can't play them, so that's where it stopped being fun to me, but Resident Evil 1 and 2 are just that perfect blend. And even some of the later Resident Evil games are still okay, but that's the kind of game that just is right where it needed to be at that time, and it's the perfect representation of horror in a video game. So it's definitely my number one. It's almost like there's the top 5, but it's really like it's like number 1 and then everything else. Because between 2 and 10, I could have probably mixed that up a little bit more if I really wanted to. If I wanted, any one of those could be interchangeable. But the one game that can't be interchangeable is Resident Evil. That's always got to be at the top, and it's far and away the best horror game of all time, in my opinion. What say you?
I like it.
Any reaction to that?
No, I mean, I understand it. I like Resident Evil. I think I agree, though. Like, after you get past... Honestly, I think probably the end for me is 4. Because at that point, right, it just... The series shifted so much. It got different. It just becomes... How gross and disgusting and vile can we make it rather than the environment?
Right.
Whereas I feel like with, especially the first 3, it was so much environment. Right. Like the second one with the tyrant.
I have a hard time playing the third one with the tyrant. Those jump scares are just like... Yeah. I played through it, but like back when I was like 15.
Yeah, when he just pops up, you're like, oh, snap.
Yeah, you're like, oh my gosh, what do I do? Where do I go? It's like you can't really get away from him, But yeah, those are special games to me. So, and again, it hit at a time where the industry was just in such transition. I mean, we were going from 2D graphics to 3D graphics, and so that also made it that much more impactful because you weren't even used to 3D graphics yet, and you had this, like, it seemed like such a living, breathing world, and it was just so realistic. So it was definitely a product of its time, and a game that I still think, even if you don't like the tank controls, you can get used to them. I like them. Mm-hmm. but you can get used to them, and the atmosphere still hits.
I was gonna say the tank controls almost add, in my opinion, to the game, because once you get rid of it, it's kind of like, oh, cool, I can 180 in a half second.
Right.
Versus, it's like, it's almost like you're, like if you were really afraid, you wouldn't be able to just jump around.
The fear would be like the tank controls.
Yeah, so I like that. And I always like that about those. Dino Crisis was another one that still used those tank controls. I'm like, that's so much better for this type of game, because it's not just running around freaking out. It's, oh, I got to be slightly, even though I'm afraid, I have to think about this a little bit and process and be able to do what I need to do.
Right. I do think it was a happy accident. I think Capcom wasn't there where they were like, oh, we know how to make this work better. Yeah. So all they really had was the tank controls. But in the end, I think it almost catered to it better than if they had created the Resident Evil 1 remake controls.
Yeah.
You know?
Which I've played that one. It's great too. But yeah, there's something about that original.
Yeah. So what about you, Ryan? What do we got? What's your number one retro video game of all time? If you say PS1, I'll be okay.
Yeah, it's PS1. But this one's all right. So this one adds a little bit of a story. So,
we got a little pre-story.
So my number one Halloween-y type of PS1 game. So my Grand Poobah, if you will.
Grand Poobah.
I don't remember the Flintstones. The Water Buffalo Lodge.
I don't remember the Flintstones.
Okay.
I know the Flintstones.
But anyways, so like my number one would be, and it's not a game a lot of people know about.
Of course.
And it's called Vampire Hunter D.
Vampire Hunter D.
Yes. So, this is where the story comes in. So the reason that Vampire Hunter D is like my number one is, it's kind of a long backtrack, but it started in high school. I started reading the novels, and it's a novel series that was written by an author from Japan named Hideyuki Kikuchi, and it was illustrated by the guy who did the concept art for Final Fantasy, Yoshitaka Amano. So all the illustrations that are in the original books are the same ink on white he would do for concept art.
Did you know that before you played the game?
Yeah.
You did? Okay.
Yeah, this is I played the game after this. So I fell in love with the writing and just the world that he created about this Dampier, which is like a half human, half vampire, who for some reason has a large amount of power, but is kind of defending this futuristic dystopian world, these humans from these ancient vampires.
Yeah.
And the game is kind of taking that series and putting it in like a 3D adventure-ish type game. But it really captures like, the spirit of the year and just having that really cool vampiric.
What kind of game is it though?
It's if you mixed Resident Evil with a very slow Devil May Cry.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, Devil May Cry in itself is a iteration on Resident Evil.
Yep. So it's a little faster. It's more hack and slashy at times, but I just like the lore a lot. I like the setting. I love the character of D himself, and it's always been one of my favorites.
This is a PS1 game?
Yep. It started as a novel series. I'm still deeply into the novels.
Was it only in Japan?
Nope. It was released in the U.S. by Jalico. I have 2 copies.
Oh, I see it here.
Yep.
And,
okay. It's such a cool character. I will be the first to admit, it is not the most smooth game.
Jalico, huh?
So, it's got some warts, but I like it warts and all.
It's got pre-rendered backgrounds. Okay. Because at first I was going to say it kind of reminds me of Ninja for PS1.
I could see that too.
A little bit. Yeah. All right. Well, I did not expect for your favorite game to be Vampire Hunter D. Is that for real? Like that's your
for Halloween? That is my favorite game.
Do you try to play that?
Usually do
during the time.
Going to the PS3, play it a little bit. It's fun, and like the opening is so cool because like you're walking up to like this big like castle, and like the doors just creak open. It's just so good.
We can hear you.
Nice.
Hold it down over there. All right, Trenton's escaped for a few minutes, so I'll just give like my honorable mentions. But my honorable mention number 10 is Medieval. That was number 10. Again, any one of these could probably be in the top 5 at any day, but Medieval is definitely up there. Gauntlet Legends on Dreamcast. You know, that has to be included in you know, a spooky sort of game because it has goblins. It has that kind of trope. You do go into fiery pits, you know, with lava and stuff like that. And playing that game 4-player is an experience like you've never had. I mean, that is an awesome game to play with 4 Dreamcast controllers. I've played Gauntlet Legends. Oh. I put it in my honorable mentions. 4-player with you know, with a Dreamcast is fantastic. Horrible performance on the PS1. They got it to work, but it was terrible. Number 8, D. Saturn 3DO, PC, and PS1.
I was thinking of that would be on your list, but I didn't think it was going to be.
It's like definitely up there, but I couldn't include it in my top 5. I just couldn't. But it's an awesome game. It's only like a 2-hour game. It's really short, but a really atmospheric game. A lot of fun, and definitely one that needs to be checked out. This one is just tough for me to get, you know, a top 5 list. But House of the Dead 2, you'd think that would be up there. It's just tough for me to put it in the top 5 over, you know, Ghostbusters, Doom, Legacy of Kain, Ghouls and Ghosts, and Resident Evil 1 and 2.
So I mean, I know you're going with it, but my number 1 is Zombies Ate My Neighbors.
Zombies Ate My Neighbors.
Yeah, there it is.
So my number 6 was Zombies Ate My Neighbors.
Okay.
Right
you know
off
what?
the
I'm
list.
surprised you didn't have a Splatterhouse in there. I feel like you bring that up a lot and mention it.
I do, but remember, we're talking about games we played when we were kids.
Oh, so you didn't play that one back then?
I didn't play Splatterhouse back then, so I didn't.
That's why I had it in there.
I didn't include that in my list of games I played back then.
Okay.
I always wanted to play it, but I never actually got a chance to play it as a kid. So yeah, Zombies Ate My Neighbors is like such a unique, iconic game, and there's nothing like it really. And it's just again, all of these games when you look at them, it's like the music, the atmosphere, the story, just what they're doing is something that's really special, and that's one of the things that all of these have in common. And so, Zombies Ate My Neighbors. Can you name another game that's as good as that? That's like that at that point in time. There's nothing like it. And it had a password system, so you could always pick it up where you were. It might be a little tougher because you don't have your items, but still, like you could still get through it. And the graphics are just so fun. They're so good. Was both on the Super Nintendo and Genesis. Did you play on the Super Nintendo or Genesis?
No, I've never played it on the Super Nintendo.
Me neither. Me neither.
I feel like that's one of the games where it pretty much plays the same.
Either way. Yep. Either way, I think it's good.
Maybe as with maybe, you know, some of the Genesis Super Nintendo ones where the Super Nintendo one's cropped maybe visually. I don't know how it's set up on the Super Nintendo, but I'm as far as I know, I think they pretty much play exactly the same, and the sound effects are pretty much the same.
The Genesis one has a bar on the right with all the menu system
I
information.
can't remember what the Super Nintendo
The Super Nintendo has it overlaid on the graphics.
Okay. I mean, I'm sure we went through like a whole thing about it when we did that Zombies Ate My Neighbors.
They're pretty
episode.
much either one. I think you're gonna have a good time. So I got Poltergeist, Friday the 13th, Zombies Ate My Neighbors, Resident Evil 2. I said, but I was a little off on that. So I'll take 3. And then what did you get for me? How many did you get?
I don't.
You got Resident Evil.
I think like none.
Ghouls and Ghosts.
All the ones that
So you got 2.
Yeah.
I win.
I win.
But you know, when you think about this genre, like I was saying, I mean, there's so many good games. I mean, no
Castlevania for you, huh? No.
I can't put them above those 5.
Okay.
Oh, I have an honorable mention.
Nobody cares. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
They will hate me for this.
What?
Who's they?
It's Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts.
Let me explain.
No, you don't need to explain. You don't need to explain. There's horror aspects of that game.
Well, no, that
Hades.
True, but the big thing for me is Jack Skellington, Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
So it's like that's my favorite Halloween movie.
Yep.
Like of all time.
Yep.
So it's like for me, just being able to play in that area is so cool.
One that I did play that didn't make the list or honorable mentions was Mutant League Hockey. That was a great game back then. Loaded for PS1 and Saturn. Nightmare Creatures for PS1 and 64.
That's one I had.
I got
on
a
the
game.
list for you.
Yep. Go ahead, Sal.
You said Mutant League Hockey.
Yeah.
Mutant League Football.
Mutant League Football.
Which I have. I got this Christmas.
One of my favorite games on NES, Jaws, which I love playing through. It's a nice, quick game. It's a horror game, of course. Area 51, PS1 and Saturn. Another really good game. Now, they call them aliens, but they look like skeletons. I don't know. Sword of the Berserk for Dreamcast.
Oh, yeah.
Great game.
Yep.
Alone in the Dark.
What's that?
Nights into Dreams for Saturn.
Keep going and going.
I'm just saying, like, there's so many
20
games you could put. Resident Evil 3, Haunted House on Atari. That's the first one. And Top Players Tennis with Ivan Lendl and Chris Everett for NES.
Very spooky, scary.
Yeah. Have you seen Chris Everett? Another game, Dracula X Rondo of Blood. We never played that back in the day, but regarded as probably the best straightforward Dracula vampire Castlevania game. Mm-hmm. Quake, Saturn and 64. Enemy Zero for Saturn. There's so many games. I mean, we even we played a couple years ago Monster House on GameCube. Mm-hmm. You know, from the movie. Great game. Even includes a mini game for Thou Art Dead, which is the side-scrolling ghouls and ghosts. Yep. Yeah, this is it.
No. What about Casper? I need Casper.
That's one you really like.
I know. I'm surprised I didn't put it on there, but
I know.
think just because it's not so much a Halloween game for me as it's just kind of like a warm and fuzzy game.
Yeah.
So,
but it is a spooky, scary game. So, well, that's our list, guys. Let us know are there any games that we missed? Are there any games that you guys like that that you would put on a top 5 that we didn't mention today? I mean, if there's anything that we missed, but
in terms of like retro up to PS2,
up to up to Dreamcast. If you want to include PS2, that's fine. But some of those old games, like I said, I can't really play the new ones, but I can always go back to those old ones and have a blast.
Include like Last of Us. That's PS3.
Yeah, we didn't go that far up, but that would be a horror game. Yeah, that would be
PS3.
Yep, that is a PS3 game. Yep. So, well, thank you guys for joining us. We're running up just about 2 hours, so thank you so much for spending a couple of hours of your day with us. Be safe this Halloween if you guys do go out. Remember that everything that's good starts with that man above. Be safe, be happy, be healthy, and as always, keep it turbo.
Love you. Oh.
What?
Could you not press the button? Why would you press it so fast?
Just like on your...
You got to commandeer it, don't you?
Just like on phones, you got to press it right away.
That doesn't make any sense.
You want to see this?
Here's your voice.
You're doing this for 2 hours.
So 10 more seconds would have been just fine.